In this video, I want to go over ways to recover from physical and mental injuries like Batman. Before I begin, if you enjoy this type of content, make sure to like and subscribe. Watch me stream, usually Tuesdays to Thursdays, around 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and join my Discord server for updates and for suggestions on new videos, link down below. As a vigilante, Batman is definitely getting injured while on patrol protecting Gotham each night, but he seems to recover much faster from many of his injuries, and even the serious ones, while putting him out of commission, he seems to come back okay from it, still being able to perform as the Caped Crusader. One part could be the billions of dollars he has at his disposal, giving him access to some of the best medicine and experimental medicine/surgeries in the world. Though he may have to use excuses to get the treatments, especially for like specialist surgeries or medicines, and for bullet wounds, it would be pretty improbable unless it's Alfred or Dr. Leslie Tompkins or some shady doctor. Other aspect could be the fact that he is actually a low-level superhuman with a certain level of healing, like I mentioned in one of my very early videos on why I think Batman is actually a metahuman. Without either available for most people, other methods are going to be needed. First is preventive care, which isn't really a recovery aspect, but it's to lower the amount of potential injuries that can occur. Now this is a big range, as certain exercises may better fit to prevent certain types of injuries. As such, the focus should be on preventing common injuries, either like via age or the specific common injuries in a physical activity that you perform. For example, knee injury/pain, shoulder injury/pain, hips, lower back, etc. A good start could be the exercises from knees over toes guy, some of them including split squats for the hips, tibialis races for the knees, sled pushes, etc. The second is if and or most likely when you get injured, to seek medical attention, though depending on the seriousness of the illness/injury. While the body can heal itself to a certain extent with time and rest and proper recovery, some things require outside intervention, i.e. a doctor. It could be medicine to lower any reactions or fight off illnesses. It could be to put like fucking pins in a portion of your bone to make sure it sets, or even replacing an organ to an organ donor. The third is sleep, which is another extremely important part of recovery. This time period is where many beneficial events occur. As such, skipping sleep, even by an hour or two, can be detrimental in the long run. A lack of sleep can cause an increased risk of high blood pressure, a weakened immune system, diabetes, increased stress, poor performance, mood shifts, which can indirectly affect recovery in cases where you act out in an aggressive manner or make stupid mistakes. It can also negatively impact muscle growth and negatively affect the repairing aspects of your body when it comes to damages. As such, there isn't many things worth skipping sleep for. While I will most likely make a video on this topic, there are some steps you can take, like fixing your circadian rhythm, if it's off, stopping the consumption of caffeine at an early time, to give the body enough time to break it down, which can be up to 10 hours. Exercise can also promote sleep, though when you're injured, intense workouts are usually not the best idea, there are some exceptions, and a temporary measure for nights you're struggling could be melatonin tablets, though for short-term use, or magnesium tablets. The fourth is nutrition, making sure to consume healthy meals on a regular basis. Protein intake from both whole foods and supplements, though the latter is not a necessity, more of a convenience, to prevent muscular atrophy when you are in bed and you can't move, in the cases of like more serious injuries. Carbs are another important one, where low levels of availability can induce protein degradation, increase muscle protein breakdown, and reduce net protein balance according to an NCBI article. It also states that more research is needed though for the underlying mechanism of the carbohydrate for the metabolic process. Fats such as omega-3 are anti-inflammatory, like in salmon, and other foods as well with anti-inflammatory properties like berries, mushrooms, avocados, etc. Consuming micronutrients via whole foods are also important. And while the name itself does indicate that only a small amount is needed per day, and if you miss it for a couple of days, it doesn't have any real immediate effect, there could be some effect if it's for a prolonged amount of time. Like for example, vitamin D deficiency caused by shorter days and less amounts of sunlight exposure, which can cause negative mood changes like seasonal affective disorder, where less sunlight is thought to be linked to this effect. The fifth is exercise. Though, like I hinted beforehand, not intensive workouts, but physical therapy. If the problem was serious enough that you went to a doctor or specialist, they'll most likely recommend a therapist who's going to give you the exercises to do. When you receive these exercises, you should do so diligently to make sure you're back in tip-top shape before working out. It would also be useful to ask your doctor when you can start intense exercises in cases where a spike in blood pressure can have a negative effect on your recovery. If this is not a concern, then train the parts of your body that can be used using substitutions and machines to your best ability to at the very least maintain your current physique. If the issue wasn't serious enough to go see a doctor, or they gave you a cookie cutter answer like rest and ice and recovery, you should do that, but also look up exercises to help you further along. Once again, the A to G exercises from the knees over toes guy is pretty useful in my opinion, but you may have to do some more digging for a specific injury. The sixth, while not necessary, is meditation. I've mentioned this a couple of times already in previous videos, as it seems to be a very useful tool. It's kind of like a panacea of sorts, though not as effective as the fictional drug. The effectiveness of meditation can differ and depend on your willingness and effort to do so. About 10 minutes a day, though, is said to have a positive influence. Other practices to help with your mental recovery, along with meditation, include sleep for mental recovery, which is also important. Physical activity is beneficial, hopefully though when you're not injured for the latter. Having hobbies can also assist. And of course, sunlight exposure has an association with mental well-being, like I mentioned just beforehand, with one study on OR nurses who had limited amounts of sunlight exposure based off of self-reports, showed a higher score on the Kessler-10, a simple measure of psychological distress. And another study came to the conclusion that lower sunlight exposure having an association to an increased probability of cognitive impairments. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on my social media pages. Watch me stream on YouTube, usually Tuesdays to Thursdays, 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and join my Discord server for updates and for when I stream and to ask suggestions to my new videos. The link for it is in the description.